Hi, I'm Darren Meister. I'm the Vice President of EMA North America, managing the sales group for the EMA Safe division. Our responsibilities are sales in the United States, Canada, and Puerto Rico. The counterfeit and falsified drugs situation in the U.S. is quite critical. We are the world's largest pharmaceutical market in consumption, obviously, and the regulations for unit level serialization were put in place by the government for this year in 2017 to try to help the situation with counterfeit and falsified drugs. The full aggregation requirements will not be implemented until 2023 due to the capabilities of the companies to be compliant for full aggregation. The full aggregation will really help the counterfeit that is going through the supply chain, because the supply chain itself is so large that it creates a lot of logistics problems for the pharmaceutical companies. And therefore, by 2023, the situation will be much more improved. But to first start with unit level serialization this year in 2017 will make a difference to help the situation. The trends I see in the market currently, many companies are already starting and establishing their serialization platforms with vision suppliers, their global implementations, etc. The new trend that I'm seeing in requests are for what we're calling primary serialization. And primary serialization could be the individual blister to a carton, the individual bottle or multiple bottles to a carton, a device, a syringe, etc., where the actual syringe, device, product inside the carton has been fully aggregated to the carton. The reason is that the customers are starting to realize if the carton is lost or the carton is removed, they don't have the capability to trace the product back to the lot and the supply chain. So I believe a trend for the future will be primary serialization, which will be a complete, huge undertaking for the pharmaceutical companies to implement. Some of the main challenges we see is, whether it's an existing line or a future line, is the amount of resources that it's taking from both the customer side and from the supplier side. The other big issue is the customers are not understanding or realize the amount of component changes that are required to their packaging in order to implement track and trace and printing capabilities, etc., and locations of print, things like that. We are seeing a lot of use of what we're calling dummy codes or helper codes to help the locations of where print is being done and for the aggregation that's needed, etc. But the challenges are both resources and also the situations with all the vision supply companies, the suppliers that have very limited resources to handle such a big amount of projects. The other one we see is when it's an existing packaging line, is that customers underestimate how much downtime is needed to implement it on an existing line. They are under extreme pressure to get their production line back up and running and have very limited weeks to get the implementation done on an existing line, and that's putting a tremendous strain on the resources for that. Suggestions for customers would be to start early, to start a plan before implementation, is to perhaps work with some outside consultants that really know the ins and outs of track and trace, or working with big suppliers like EMA and ourselves that really know the market and what's required to do a project of that magnitude. What I see is customers really underestimating the amount of work that it takes. So the best suggestion I can give to them is to find partners like a very strong vision supplier, a very strong integrator like EMA, working very closely with them, implementing a plan before they decide to either purchase new equipment or to figure out how to take their existing equipment and modify it in order to be compliant with aggregation.